There, folks, it's Patrick, and I'm just a dude trying to save the world. Today, all things considered, I feel like I need to attempt the interjection of a little inspiration going into 2021. The year past was surreal, to say the least, right? And the transition into the new year, in and of itself, offers no guarantee that this will change. Indeed, things could get even crazier. So then, here are a few things to think about that have always helped me to keep moving forward, even under the worst of circumstances. In 2016, astrophysicist Eric Zachrisson from Uppsala University in Sweden conducted a study with the aid of a computer model that simulated the universe's evolution following the Big Bang. The study suggests that there are around 700 quintillion planets in the universe, but only one like Earth. This simply and scientifically posits that the odds of Earth existing in its current human life-sustaining configuration are roughly 700 quintillion to 1. That's a 7 with 20 zeros trailing it. This, of course, is a purely scientific analysis, excluding the perspective of an omnipotent being creating the planet out of nothing in 7 days, and thus lending itself to a more simplified, comprehensive view of our origins. And this, for me, is lottery win number 1. Secondly, and again scientifically, the very real fact is that when we think of the odds of your parents meeting, we must take into consideration how many men and women there were at that time on our tiny and improbable home, and just how many people of the opposite sex your mother and father would have met in their first 20 or so years. It follows then that we should consider the chances of them even meeting in the first place, and then conversing, and then the chances of them meeting again, and then the improbable chance of them forming a long-term or even short-term relationship. And then one must consider that the odds of the right egg and the right sperm combining to make you, in light of the aforementioned criteria, would be quite simply astronomical. And this doesn't even take into consideration the probability of all of your ancestors successfully mating and all of the right sperm meeting all of the right eggs to make each one of those ancestors. This being the case, it has been calculated that the chances of your even becoming a human are about 400 trillion to 1, and that the odds of you being born at all are basically 0. You were born. This is lottery win number 2. The third method of inspiration, and for me the most motivating, is this. Many, if not most, of the more than 4,000 religions currently employed on the planet ascribe or attribute some form of immortality to human existence. Be it heaven or hell, reincarnation, or some other form of eternal life, we as mortal, temporary beings long to believe in the indefinite continuation of the mental, spiritual, or physical existence of individual human beings in spite of the continually demonstrable impermanence of virtually all life in the universe. This illustrates a common thread running in and through not only the many religions of this world, but through humanity as a whole. This aptly demonstrates the desire, the need to imagine ourselves as somehow immortal. We fear the unknown territory of death, and we know the very visceral pain of losing a loved one. And as such, we experience great difficulty relinquishing our imagined superiority over the very stars. I mean, I get it. I understand the pain of losing a human, or for that matter, any being who is loved. It is extremely painful, even excruciating, in that this human or animal companion will be missed, but also in that it is a very stark reminder of our own very temporary nature. When someone or a pet who is loved passes, we hope that heaven is good to him or her. Many of us believe that they or we will come back as some other creature or some other human or even a tree, or simply live on in forever in heaven or nirvana or in the halls of Valhalla. We need desperately to believe we will see the departed again, and that their existence will not, in some sense, be terminated utterly. This, I believe, also serves as an attempt to stave off the realization, the reality, the very foundational but largely avoided truth that we too, at some point unknown to us, will most certainly cease to exist. I offer that this belief in immortality of one sort or another, being in spirit or continuation on some other plane or rebirth or in heaven or in hell, this second chance presents problems. We, believing we are in any way immortal, though lip service is given, tend not to treat and approach and revere the remarkably improbable gift of our living, breathing, feeling existence in the present moment with the very real notion of its impermanence. And we do not, therefore, live our very brief lives with any real urgency. We do not, as the centuries of stark evidentiary show, consider ourselves or others, or our home and our brief time upon it, as the very remarkable, truly impossible gifts that they are. We think, mostly wish, that we will somehow go on forever, and as such we, as a race of beings, do not treat life and the preservation and the utilization of what little there is of it for each of us with the appropriate level of reverence and awe and respect that it and we, ourselves and all other living beings, deserve. And when it comes down to living, many of us tend to simply exist. Few of us, so very few of us, truly live. We often sleepwalk through our day, working hard just to make it to Saturday, working hard to make somebody else's dream come true. And so I need to leave you with what I ultimately fall back on, what I remind myself of every day to inspire and to motivate me to move forward, to keep me working hard to make my dream come true, even during times when it may feel impossible or even futile to do so. I remind myself of the impossible privilege, the unspeakably beautiful gift, the improbability of our very existence. I remember that every breath is a remarkably temporary and unlikely gift. And I remember the words of Gary Vaynerchuk when asked by a woman for 3 words she could use to give her inspiration for any day she was feeling down. He asked, 3 words? You're gonna die. Look, life is a service job. Live, not only in service to others, but live in service to yourself. The time to decide who you are is now. You're going to die. Do something about it. So like, subscribe, and share if you're so inclined, because I'm just a dude, one dude, trying to save the world. We'll see you next time.